Good morning, beloveds. So we are on now day 3 of Facebook Live not letting me do it on my phone. It's making me crazy. So when the video looks a little odd, it's because the camera is somewhere weird on the iPad and I can't figure it out. I sent them a report. We'll see if they do anything about it. I'm also going to ask David if David's having the issue, because it could just be the Androids, because I use an Android, not an iPhone. But it is May 29th. Our title is Patience. The first quote is, let patience have her perfect work. James 1:4. The second quote is, illumination will come as people more and more realize that their unity with the whole, and as they constantly endeavor to let the truth operate through them. For most of us, patience is an acquired virtue. We don't like having to wait for anything. Too often our prayer is, God, give me patience, and please let me have it right now. When we go through the difficult times in life, we usually ask that the suffering be removed or reduced, that the unhappiness is curtailed, or we are impatient with ourselves, thinking ourselves to be enlightened persons who ought to know better. When we hurt, we too seldom are willing to give the situation an opportunity to reveal its lesson. Though often, when we do look back on our painful life experiences, we find that eventually they lead to greater awareness and faith. We need to know that everything that happens to us is part of our growth, bringing us closer to God. Since we may not be able to at first identify the benefits and blessings of a life experience, let us simply stay open to God and wait for the good that is unfolding, knowing that God always works for our greater fulfillment. I know that God, my Creator, works in my life in ways that are sometimes mysterious to me. I open myself more and more to Spirit's direction and remember all things work for good to those who love God. I am thankful. And that is J.A. Gene Anderson. Okay. I frequently say patience is a virtue, and it is not one of mine. I have many good qualities. Patience is not one I am known for. It's not about instant gratification, because I understand good things come to those who wait. And it's not, and because of the wide variety of work that I've done, I understand that things take time, especially if you want to do them right. Because I'm definitely a believer in doing it right the first time rather than doing it fast. But patience has limits. And I am going to be cautious with the silver lining and the good coming from a painful situation, simply because we have had an extraordinarily painful situation in Texas, and there's no way to spin that. You can say whatever you want about patience and the good coming from it, and no, and there are times when people want to do that kind of, it's called a spiritual bypass. Occasionally painful situations are exactly what they are. They are painful. And we don't have to look for the good. We don't have to. Years down the way, maybe we can go back and look at that situation. And I will say that whatever the situation is no matter how painful the situation is, we can always go and learn the lessons, okay? We don't have to look for the good. And maybe that's where I'm gonna take that differing track from a painful situation, and there's a difference between looking for the good and learning the lesson. Okay. because I think that sometimes, especially in an extraordinarily painful situation like we've just had in Texas, if somebody comes to me and says, well, look for the good, I'm going to go, and let's check your spiritual bypass. But if somebody comes to me and say, well, what are the lessons that we are learning, that I can get on board with, because there are lessons, and there are lessons on each side, and there are lessons on how we have responded to the situation and how we have reacted to the situation, and what we have taken in to ourselves about how we feel about that situation. So when we talk to people in the midst of painful situations, and when we talk to ourselves in the midst of painful situations, don't get caught in that spiritual bypass of, well, God won't give you more than you can handle. No, don't put this on God. This is our own nonsense. It's that whole free will thing. So, okay, I'll lose my thought. But we can always look at the lessons we're learning. Now, in the middle of it, this is not the conversation we want to have, because it can come off as judgy and blaming. So let's not do that either. There's a whole messiness about spiritual bypass that crops up in these situations, and we just don't want to do that. And I just wanted to say that about this, because patience. The one piece of advice that I will give you is never pray for patience, because you will get opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to practice it. Nobody needs that. All right? Patience is a good thing. I have been working on my patience. And there are times that it is going to show, like, as I said, I understand. Things take time to come to fruition. But, yeah, it's a virtue. Not necessarily one of mine. Okay. All right. So, as I said, May 29th, the title is Patience. I don't know what to do with the quote from James, but let patience have her perfect work. That is James 1:4. Go and read a little bit more. It's the fourth line of the chapter. Go and start reading it and see what the situation is that he's talking about. He may be talking about a situation exactly like I just said. When you're working on a complicated product, do you want to do it right, or do you want to do it fast? It took me almost 10 years to get to ordination. So, do you want to do it right, or do you want to do it fast? I wanted to do it right. For most of us, illumination will come as people more and more realize their unity with the whole, and as they constantly endeavor to let the truth operate through them. Enlightenment. Like I said, 10 years. Okay, so, and that's from the Science of Mind, page 343. What are you doing? For most of us, patience is an acquired virtue. That is the truth. It is something I work on. We don't have to we don't like having to wait for anything. And there's a reason why I carry a good book with me all the time. Because patience is not one of my well-practiced virtues. The book helps a whole lot. So, there are things that we can do to support our patience. God, give me patience. Too often our prayer is, God, give me patience, and please let me have it right now. When we go through the difficult times in life, we usually ask that the suffering be removed or reduced, that the unhappiness be curtailed. Or we are impatient with ourselves, thinking ourselves to be enlightened people who ought to know better. Okay. We get ourselves into situations for a variety of reasons. And I would say that 9 times out of 10, when we get ourselves in painful situations, it is because we are in relationship with someone. And no matter how enlightened you are, you're going to be in a relationship with someone that will eventually bring you pain. Look at the Buddhist philosophy. Attachment creates pain. So one of the things that I'll always ask myself is, I understand that I'm gonna get hurt. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? And it doesn't matter how enlightened you are. You're gonna love people, and things are gonna happen. And in the end, it's gonna be okay. Because a little bit of sorrow can make the joy sweeter. Now, a whole lot of sorrow, that's another issue. And we'll tackle that another day. When we hurt, we too seldom are willing to give the situation the opportunity to reveal its lesson, though often when we do look back on our painful life experiences, we find that eventually they led to greater awareness and faith. Anytime we have been caught in a painful situation, the best thing that we can do, and we not necessarily in the situation, because we got to deal with the emotions and we got to get through it, but when it's back, then we can look at the situation and learn from it. And learn from it. Whatever it is, even if it's just not to do that again, sometimes. We need to know that everything that happens to us is part of our growth, bringing us closer to God. Okay, let's go back to that line. We need to know that everything that happens to us is part of our growth. I like how she says that it's part of our growth. It's not happening to us on purpose, because frequently it doesn't. We're just caught in situations based on the choices that we make, the places that we go, the people that we associate. We get caught in situations. Okay, it's not destiny. It's not a judgment from God, but it is something that we can use to grow. All right. And it is something we can use to bring ourselves closer to God. Be careful with that, though, because suffering is not necessary to get closer to God. Hear me on that one. Suffering is not necessary to get closer to God. And I don't care what religion tells you that. Every religion tells you that in this material life, we will suffer. It's going to happen. But suffering is not necessary to bring us closer to God. We can use our suffering to bring us closer to God, but we do not need to suffer to get closer to God. All right? Since we may not be able to at first identify the benefits and blessings of a life experience, let us simply stay open to God and wait for the good that is unfolding, knowing that God always works for our greater fulfillment. I'm just not going to touch that. I don't think I can right now. All right. And feel free to share what you think about that last line in the comments, because it's kind of harsh. But I only think it's harsh because of what we've been through recently. I know that God, my Creator, works in my life in ways that are sometimes mysterious to me. God does not bring us the suffering. Okay? We do that to each other. Do not blame God for the suffering. I open myself more and more to Spirit's direction and remember that all things work for good to those who love God. I am thankful. Yeah. This is one of those times that I'm going to go back and remind you that what you are going through is going to change the way you read things. Had this been a month ago, I would have had a completely different interpretation. Yep. All right. I don't even know what to do for a mission today. I don't. The mission today, should we choose to accept it? The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to take a deep breath when we are in the midst of suffering. To know in the end it will be okay. And to know that as we walk through this event, this life experience that may be painful at times, that we are not alone. That we have the everlasting arms to lean into, and we have each other. I think that's the mission for today. All right, beloveds. The other mission for today is the same mission I always give you, to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself, whatever that looks like. Big, small, doesn't matter. I took a serious nap yesterday when I came home from the food market because I needed it, and it was good. And I'm going to take another one today, and maybe another one tomorrow, because, hey, you know what? I didn't get one on Friday. So take the nap, take the walk, whatever it is that you need to be kind and gentle with yourself. Practice love, practice kindness, practice compassion on yourself. It's the place to start. It's the best place to start. Because if you can do it for yourself, you can do it for anybody. Trust me on that. All right, beloveds. My eyes are driving me crazy, which is why my nose is about to start running, and nobody needs to hear that, so I'm going to get off this thing. But I am going to tell you, as I always do, to do something to engage your mind and your body, unless it is your day of rest, because we need those. Drink plenty of water. Go get a face full of bright light. Looks pretty sunny out there. And open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you that heaven is a state of mind. Heaven is a state of consciousness. Heaven is literally a thought away. And sometimes we need to walk through hell to do what we need to do. But heaven is always there. Literally a thought away. So, all right. Take Emma's advice. Look for the good and praise it. And there's always good. Always good. Because we are beloved children of God, in whom God is well pleased. And when we can give that gift to each other, heaven's that much closer. Okay, I am going to move into the process of my day, because it's Sunday and I need to get ready for the Sunday service. I got some muscles I need to stretch out from yesterday, and yeah, to get myself together. All right, I'm going to tell you to have a great day, if that is possible, a Sunday, a heavenly day, I need to hear this, a get your act together day. I got some stuff that I would like to take care of, so I'm going to get my act together today. A taking care of business day, a rest day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God, in whom God is well pleased, always and forever. All right, beloveds. Catch us on the social medias. We will be on Facebook Live at 11 a.m. If you don't want to come in person, you always have the option of catching us there. Take care of yourself. Know that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark, and I am the running Rev Ryan on all the social medias that we are on. And if there was something else, which I don't remember, so email info@creativelife.org, and that will get you that link. And I will see you next time. So we'll be on at 11 for Facebook for the live stream. finishing up Ursula Gesterfeld today. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. and I will be back with you at 9 a.m. Eventually, hopefully, it'll let me go back to doing it on my phone. But until, here we are. Okay. Take care of yourself. Know that you're loved. I will see you soon.